and Grandma was talking about Francis Martin Pomeroy and Irene. And I didn't really know who they were, so and Grandma came in, they were explaining, who they were.
The thing that kind of triggered it for me was when they did the memorial down in Mesa in honor of Francis for sounding Mesa, and they put a new headstone for him, and they did a headstone for his other two wives. But here my great-great-grandmother's up there in Salt Lake, and she's in an unmarked grave. I think her testimony is what really set the foundation for the family, for our family, or for our generations, because she never wavered and she stuck to her beliefs. She had 8 children, raised those children a lot of times by herself. Francis went on a mission to California and was gone for a while. She, in my opinion, was really the foundation of the family way back from the time they lived in Massachusetts. And she joined the church with her friend Emmeline G. Wells.
Oh, so she could be there, it just hasn't been listed maybe?
I can't say she could be, because if she was listed, she'd be in our database. This is just a mapping system. And she's not there.
We decided, or we were thinking after this program in Mesa to honor Francis and put the headstone up there, that we'd like to try to find. They mentioned there that they didn't know where she was buried. It's for the plot for the Charles.
Yeah, that's what we need, is just where Charles is.
Kind of what, just to tell her husband, my great-great-grandfather, he went to Idaho and then he went to Arizona and settled Mesa. And we just had, last year, the family got together and we had raised money. We just put new headstones for him and his other 2 wives. And there was money left over, and they said we need to find out where Irene, if we could go up there. Well, in her story,
Do me a favor.
it just said that she was buried next to these 2 children, and Charles was one of the children. So we're kind of wondering if there's any kind of
See if anybody else is in there.
monument or anything that we could put there. We don't even know what's in Charles. He may not even have a headstone. We want to go look and see.
Okay, about right there.
Do you need readers yet? Which mom does?
So come through this main gate, or you can come up to the next intersection right here. Up End Street, which is this road here. Get on Main. You're going to go up to 310 North. From 310 North, head east, and you're going to pass Central, which is that first street right there. And it's going to be right here. 310 North Central. So it's not too far in, and then that square will be this square. And these are the people in the square.
We started looking into the family stories and history, and it said she was buried in Salt Lake City Cemetery next to her daughter May, and that Charles, one of the other wives' sons, baby son, was, when he died, he was buried next to her. And so we started checking the cemetery, and they had a record of Charles. And had a site, the grave site for him. That's why when we went up there with your mom and you guys, we went looking for that gravesite. I think we found it, took pictures of it. We still don't know for positive, but the idea came to us after we saw monuments on other grave sites honoring families, that maybe that's what we could do there, is to do a family memorial and put up a marker for the three that died and were buried there. So I've had contact with the cemetery people, and they say that's okay as long as we mention all three of them in our, in the inscriptions on the monument. So that's what we're gonna pursue and see if we can't get that done, get some kind of marker up there to honor not only her, but the other two children. It's kind of sad that there is no place to go to remember Irene.
In my opinion, if it hadn't been for Irene, because she was the one who was a member of the church, and Francis Martin wasn't a member. And if he hadn't he was interested in her, and if he hadn't been converted to the church, and they had never married, the rest of the Pomeroys wouldn't be around.
That's true.
Because he'd have never gone to Utah. There'd have been Pomeroys, but they'd have been back east probably.
There's no doubt in his history and his life he had a lot of trials and a lot of things he went through, and he had a remarkable life. But she brought stability to his life and gave him a purpose, and he accepted it too right off. And his first intention was to try to prove to her that this wasn't true and the gospel wasn't true, and he saw right away as he went and sat and listened to the brother that he was wrong, that it was true.